Hey, are you from Detroit? Oh man, I'm having that fever dream again. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. You look great. Is that a new hat? It suits you. But you sure would be prettier if you smiled. If you've never been here before, boy do I have a playlist that you need to check out first. Anyway, my hair wasn't cooperating today, so we went for the wind tunnel look. I hope you'll excuse it, and if you don't, I don't care. Weirdly enough, we're here to talk about Def Noodles. You know, the content creator you absolutely remembered to forget. But before we get into it, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, or whatever successful people on this platform tend to say at the beginning of their videos. I would never tell you what to do, but it'd be super cool if you came here often. I come here all the time. This is my bed. So, to recap, I'm not gonna recap, okay? If you missed the fall of the noodle, that's on you. I'm joking. Of course I'll give you a recap. Settle down. But for full context, if you did miss this moment in time last year, sometime circa last year, like I said, or you missed my videos on it after the fact, you know, covering it from an actual comedy perspective, there's the playlist is there. I'll link it below. It will be linked up in the top portion a couple of times during this video, so no worries. I've got you covered. So if you need a reminder, if you just are absolutely unaware of who Def Noodles is, he started YouTube sort of capitalizing on Filipino culture with reaction videos. He did a lot of like pretend to cry react to things. And then he eventually moved to some iteration of commentary. Did you think I was going to say comedy? That's cute. It is worth noting for context that I was a member of the Def Noodles community, which is such a fucking dorky ass thing to say. I was a member of his community for some time. I was actually even a mod in his Discord back when there were like only tumbleweeds blowing through that Discord, and I wasn't particularly active. Anyhow, that's just for context, okay? I'm not proud of it, and I did leave during the downfall of Def Noodles, FYI. So Dennis Feitosa, aka Def Noodles, he started a segment on his channel called Irrelevant News, which was nothing more than bland commentary poorly disguised as like thinly veiled satire. When I say thinly veiled, I mean like it was satire beaten down with a meat tenderizer until it essentially evaporated. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure that Dennis actually knows what satire truly looks like. He often compared his show to the Colbert Report, which was the brainchild obviously of Stephen Colbert, which was so heavily steeped in actual satire that you couldn't miss it unless you were too busy watching Fox News. And Dennis's Irrelevant News was not that. Dennis received a lot of backlash for reporting some stories too quickly without fact-checking. For example, like the only two people who actually lied about being children that James Charles, you know, tried to pursue and show them his very natural looking ass. You know, they were the only two that lied, and Dennis reported on it before fact-checking. Reporting it as fact on Twitter, I think, and in an episode of Irrelevant News as well. But don't forget that there are several instances of James Charles doing that for realsies though, and that is both disgusting and a literal crime. However, his ass is only a crime against humanity. Time and place, James. Time and place. Dennis also received a lot of heavy criticism from the commentary bros because of things like this, as well as the discrepancies in his satire. He was seen as sort of the butt of his own jokes, in a way, whereas James Charles is just like 90% butt. And is also a joke. Anyway, we'll come back to this point later. So Dennis used the deaf noodles as a character excuse for pretty much everything. And we'll come back to this later as well. Anytime he faced any sort of real criticism or backlash, deaf noodles as a character was responsible for that. Because Dennis would never let you forget that he truly believed deaf noodles was a character. Though to call a man in cat ear headphones, sitting in front of a chroma keyed Minecraft house, speaking at a decibel level that would give Fran Drescher a run for her money. Using the word character to describe that is using the word character as loosely as the English language would allow. Anyhow, at some point Dennis decided to retire or kill off the character of Deaf Noodles. And when he did, two things happened. One, Dennis entered his swearing era. Every other word was fuck, which is both hilarious and edgy. I sure love comedy. It was at this point that Dennis also began obsessing over Keemstar. Now, personally, I like to forget Keemstar exists in general and let him live on his side of the internet, and I'll stay on my side of the internet. Not a big fan. Is what it is. We can all coexist. Let's just pretend nobody else is alive. Only focus on ourselves, and humanity surely will save itself. I was not a big Keemstar fan, so when Dennis started clapping back, if you will, as the kids say, to Keemstar after he made a tweet alleging with words that said as much that Deaf Noodles was a pedophile, I was like, hell yeah, get him, Dennis. And then when it became part of every single video, I was like, this feels like a lot, Dennis. So the tweet insinuating heavily that Deaf Noodles was a pedophile eventually led to Dennis filing a defamation lawsuit against Keemstar. If I remember correctly, this lawsuit was settled out of court this past year, which led to this hilarious tweet by Keemstar. As many of our viewers know, Dennis and I have been involved in a lawsuit over a tweet that I posted in May of 2021. That tweet was directed at Deaf Noodles, and in response to various tweets Deaf Noodles had posted about me and other influencers. The tweet was intended as a joke to mock the Deaf Noodles character, consistent with the character's other posts and satirical themes. I did not intend to state anything factual about Dennis Feitosa himself. While I don't believe our viewers who are familiar with our content took this out of the satirical realm to the extent anyone did, I am now posting this for clarification. I certainly did not intend any harm to come to Dennis by making the tweet, and to the extent Dennis felt any harm, I have apologized to Dennis, and we have now resolved our differences. I am happy that Dennis and I have reached an amicable solution to our dispute. We intend to move forward as friends and allies, and we will be collaborating on a podcast in the near future. The fact that Dennis couldn't technically get away with a defamation lawsuit in full, my guess is that he benefited a little bit more in the settlement than Keemstar did. However, the fact that he couldn't get away with a full-on defamation lawsuit because he suddenly forgot that Deaf Noodles is a character is what comedy is. It's the only funny thing that has ever happened that involved Dennis. So things started to quickly transpire after that. Dennis told his haters to pull up or shut up because he bought a fucking comedy club, which feels slanderous in and of itself. He hosted some hilarious roast battles, but not hilarious in like the wow, those are some funny comics kind of way. More like the wow, I sure hope nobody paid to get in kind of way. Especially if they're pulling up so they don't have to shut up. God, this was such a weird time to be alive. Obviously this is not like a full comprehensive timeline. Like I'm all over the place here. I'm just trying to get you the information so we can get to the crux of the video. So at some point, Dennis asserted that creator Papa Gut, quote, looks like a pedophile. And considering he was embroiled in a lawsuit with Keemstar that he spearheaded, as defamation for saying that he was a pedophile, people were fucking furious and confused as shit, because what does a pedophile look like? Do we have like a generic description of a pedophile? Because I don't think that exists. Then, while recounting his reaction to and his actions after, his wife had recounted her essay to him, and how she ended up being the party doing the comforting instead of the other way around. Papa Gut broke down in tears on a live stream. And Dennis used that moment to make merch that said "Cry About It" with a photo of Papa Gut crying. Now, I'm no Papa Gut apologist, because I don't always agree with that motherfucker either. But this was fucking gross. This spun off to a 6-hour Twitter space that was completely fucking bonkers. He apologized to Papa Gut after hours of saying things like, "I'm a comedian." He claimed that he had only watched part of the video and he didn't know that that's why Papa Gut was upset. And Papa Gut opted to not accept his apology, which was a good call, because when Dennis started up his super roast battles in a 3rd grade slideshow featuring pictures of his haters, there was Papa Gut crying over his wife recounting her sexual assault. Comedy! Eventually he'd go on to sue his former employee Tiana for publicly exposing the conditions of one of his very boring videos that maybe 7 or 8 people watched at Burning Man. And this lawsuit is still ongoing. His assertion is that she broke an NDA by doing so, even though she didn't say his name, which, as we all know, is punishable by, I don't know, being stoned to death, I guess. His content after the roast battles and being roasted by damn near everyone on this platform eventually led him to make some pretty erratic content, really misdirection, sarcastic apologies, aggressive reasoning away his actions, and just kind of becoming a dick overall. I think that's one of the parts that like was very jarring to me, because in all of my interactions with Dennis prior to all of this shit happening and being in his Discord and being a mod for him, all of these interactions that we had with Dennis, he was wonderful. He was very, very sweet and lovely and very kind. Him being a dick to people all the time was like Mr. Rogers giving you the finger. Like, it was weird. Okay, it was just weird. Not that he's anywhere near Mr. Rogers. Just, you get it. During this time, he also platformed Nick, who was the creepy guy who talked his way into Gabby Hanna's house while she was having like a 3-day manic episode. And he didn't really bother to grill him on why he did it or really tell him that it was a bad thing in any way that would make any sort of impact. Like, he put more effort in his pull up or shut up video about his stupid comedy club than he did about the man who broke into a woman's home while she was having a manic episode. Then his former friend, who of course was not a friend after the fact when things go south, Stephen Marcus Rutherford, accused Dennis of not paying him. And his other friend, Corey, he allegedly suspended, but basically fired. I don't remember what for, but I do know that at that point it was unsurprising that even the people who made his business look good for an iota of a second, aka Stephen and Corey, were both seemingly treated like shit. And also, we'll come back to this. There's more, and I could go on and on and on and on, but it's been like 22 minutes of just me catching you up, okay? I can't do it more succinctly than this, okay? I just can't. So just strap in. This is a long video, okay? So the playlist is linked below, and it's been up there. Watch it, or as the great Dennis Feitosa once said, go educate yourself at the end of a barrel of a loaded shotgun. Or was it the character Def Noodles that said that? Who's to say? Anyway, I personally unsubscribed ages ago, certainly around the Papa Gut situation, and I was eventually blocked by Dennis on Twitter. But what did I do? Was it all the tweets? Yeah, that was a good one. Was it the videos? This is a bitter, angry YouTuber with a humiliation kink trying to bait people to come to his office and roast him to his face. Is it because I look like his cousin if his cousin was a girl? And then I was unblocked because nothing is forever and time means nothing. But he lost his Twitter account anyway, so none of it matters. It didn't matter anyway. I said that already. To be honest, I kind of forgot Dennis existed because his content was no longer for me. He fell down some alt-right sewer, and honestly, that's enough for me to leave any channel. It ain't my bag. If it's your bag, I question your morals, but you do what you gotta do. And honestly, the cancellation to alt-right pipeline is becoming clearer and clearer every day. Even if he's being satirical, which it seems like he is in some cases, but in a lot of cases it seems like, yeah, I kind of always wanted to say that Andrew Tate was funny. I don't know why he sounded like Richard Kind when he said that, but that's kind of how I envisioned it. I think it's because when people get canceled or held accountable for their actions, past or present, it is so much easier to blame it all on the woke mob or like whatever than it is to really like look at what you've done and make proper amends. For example, when one of my 5-year-olds does something they shouldn't, the first thing out of their mouths when I catch it is, I didn't do it, she did it. He did it, it wasn't me. It's a character, Mom, I'm a comedian. You know, the usual. He's a child is what I'm saying. Anyway, Dennis ended up in my YouTube feed the other day, and my curiosity was piqued. I don't know why. Perhaps I was subconsciously on the hunt for some real comedy. Anyway, let's take a look at what I found, shall we? Now, this is the first thing that came across my apparently cursed YouTube timeline. This algorithm could fix itself. That'd be amazing. Thank you. So this video was called something like the worst stand-up in the world or some shit. Let's watch it together.
Just keep throwing shit at me. That's what it's autism. Great. Thank you. What a way to start, huh?
Yeah, that crowd is on your side, fella.
Well, I have a funny autism story. I was dating this girl one time, and like right after sex, she like turned over to me and said, "I think you're autistic." Yeah. And she wanted me to take the test like right there. Yeah. So I was like, all right, you take it with me, right? We both took it together, like a group activity. Turns out she's autistic, so that's it. So that was took me for a loop right there. All right, somebody else throw me something.
He's crowdsourcing his stand-up. It's not even like improv. He's literally just crowdsourcing his stand-up. A comedian.
Nipples. Is that what you're thinking about right now? Nipples. Nipples are funny. I mean, let's be real, they're funny. They're sensitive. Everybody likes them, right? By show of a class. Nobody agreed with me. That's a fun. I was like, everybody likes them. The room's silent.
Yeah. For a change, the room was silent.
I don't know. By show of claps, like, who likes nipples here?
Oh, thank goodness. We didn't miss the Who Likes Nipples segment of this stand-up routine.
All right. We got, look at that. You don't like nipples? You like shake? Oh, okay. You do. Oh, see, she got it. I do. What are you implying? I love nipples. I don't like to have my nipples touched, though. I don't know. Mine are a little sensitive. You're like nodding. You agree? You don't know? I mean, are you nipples sensitive? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Literally everyone's nipples are sensitive. They're full of fucking nerve endings. What the fuck is the point of this? This is stupid. I mean, sorry. I just don't understand real comedy, I guess.
Maybe it's like the Brazilian thing. I don't know.
Yes. Brazilians and nipples go together like... So that's just kind of like a taste of what at least I've been missing out on. And somehow I think I'll pick up the pieces of my life and carry on. Cringe so visceral. You get secondhand embarrassment through a screen. Alright, so let's see what else the comedy gods sent me. Wow. Thank God for all that fancy comedy learning. Let's carry on, shall we?
You guys ever have a comeback, you know, where the cum shoots back into your face? It's really not a good idea when you have your mouth open. Not very appetizing. I don't eat too many fruits.
Surely there's got to be something in here worthy of me not wanting to kill myself.
So I got my beard trimmed today, and I can't help but think, kind of look like, I don't know, it kind of got a DJ Khaled vibe. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I like it. It looks clean as fuck. The guy took like an hour to clean all this up and make it look, you know, I got everything lined up. It's all lined up. Look at this. It's all clean and lined up.
I work in a hair salon. If it took him an hour, he's a bad barber.
You did a good job. You did a great job. I gave him a $15 tip.
Flex. I mean, congratulations on your $15 tip. Now we know you tip people.
But I don't know. I'm starting to feel like I'm a little too much DJ Khaled right now. I don't know how I feel about this. It's my model face. It's also my fart face.
Is he okay? I don't know. This doesn't feel like normal 37-year-old behavior as a 37-year-old woman. It also feels nothing like comedy, so at least we're consistent there. But, I mean, at least it can't really get worse.
I don't just believe in equal rights for women. I believe that after having to put up with men for so many years, women deserve more rights than men. Women deserve to have to do everything that men do for the rest of their lives. And men shouldn't be allowed to do anything. I believe that women should have to fight all the wars.
First of all, I don't like your tone. Second of all, women do fight in wars, and in many cases are not permitted to fight in combat because men won't let us. So if that's the standard you're setting for yourself, okay, yes, we take away our right to vote. Take away our right to have bodily autonomy. Take away all our fucking rights because men definitely go to war every day.
I believe that women should go and have to work the sewage jobs, the construction jobs.
Women do work those jobs. They already do. They already do. So while you're amputating your, again, thinly veiled attempt at being satirical, yeah, women do that kind of shit already.
I believe that women should pay every bill and be responsible for not only providing but also protecting.
We do. That we literally do all of that. Literally, we do all of that. Literally all of it.
And while they still do their women's stuff, meanwhile, men, we should be stripped of all of our rights and all of our duties in society and just be relegated to watching Sports Center and playing GTA 6 for the rest of our lives. It's going to be a 5-star rating for a long time. Anyway, all power to the women. White woman power.
This was the reason I wanted to make this video. Because now we're at a point where Dennis has gone so far the other way. I simply cannot. At the risk of sounding like a dumbass, I simply cannot with this shit. The worst part about it is that I feel like this whole fake tirade was brought upon by this.
God forbid I ever go to jail. But if I do, I hope it's in California. Because as soon as the judge sentenced me, I'll be like, Your Honor, before you sentence me, I just want the court to know I identify as a woman. Send me to woman's jail. And as soon as I get in there, you know what I'm gonna be doing? Give me a fruit cocktail before I knock your motherfucking teeth out. I'm a girl just like you. come over here and this girl I got. Don't make me explain myself. I'm a girl.
First of all, we're not here to discuss Dave Chappelle, really. We all know that Dave Chappelle has had his transphobic moment. This scene, I feel like this clip is more mocking the concept of having a gender identity. I'm not part of the transgender community. It's not for me to say. I'm not here to say that this particular clip is transphobic. It feels transphobic. It sure does. I would say at best it's just mocking the concept of gender identity. But it's Dennis's commentary. Let's listen together.
You think of all these scenarios, whether you like it or not, and whether you express it, often most people don't express it because they're just too polite to do it. And that's why it's important to have people like Dave, you know, artists like Dave, because they are essentially breaking down these barriers.
That's good, because we need to make sure that comedians are breaking down barriers so that they can say whatever the hell they want about marginalized communities that they're not a part of, that they've never experienced the struggle of, and will never experience the struggle of, most likely. So it's very good that we're shattering those glass ceilings, because not enough fucking comedians get to speak their mind about what they think of women, or what they think of trans people, or what they think of gay people, or domestic violence, or, I don't know, abortion and all this shit. Not enough comedians get to do that because of this movement to make comedy more PC, as if comedy hasn't been a thing that evolves with fucking time. There's a reason that Blazing Saddles wouldn't work today. Is it still a good piece of satirical comedy? Sure. But are you able to recreate it today? No. Definitely not. The thing about comedy, as someone who studied fucking comedy, like for real, is that comedy evolves with time, with society, and comedy is, the sole purpose of comedy is not to hurt or harm other people. You can be edgy, you can push the envelope, you can make disgusting jokes, you can make your dick jokes, you can do all of these things without hurting marginalized people. You are not oppressed because you can't talk shit or make jokes or make light of people's suffering. And I'm so tired of this rhetoric that you can't fucking, oh, there's so much PC in comedy. Fuck you! I'm so sorry you can't make jokes about trans people. Are you gonna be okay? Because that trans person who fucking was at the butt-ass end of that joke might not be. Because using a restroom in public for them is a fucking terrifying ordeal in some places. But God forbid you can't make a trans joke. So sorry to inconvenience you, puddin'. By the way, the collective we, in terms of like, we should be able to talk about these. You're not Dave Chappelle. You're not even close. You know, I don't agree with most of what Dave Chappelle says nowadays, but even historically, you will never be a Dave Chappelle, ever. Ever. You are not pushing any envelopes, Dennis. You are not pushing any envelopes. You are making dick jokes, cum shot jokes, and they're not even fucking funny. If you're gonna make bathroom humor comedy, at least think it through and make it fucking funny. Chappelle is a perfect example of two things can be true at one time. He makes ignorant comments and ignorant parts of his stand-up. On an Instagram live one time, I heard him call a gay man the F-slur. He doesn't give a fuck about being politically correct, and that doesn't make him like a champion of the people. That makes him stagnant in time. He's a brilliant comedian, yes, but he's also willfully ignorant and vocally ignorant. Video makes me mad because it's definitely censorship in comedy that's holding you back, Dennis. It's not shit like this.
It's also my fart face.
Donald Trump was like, we should support the Ukraine. Everyone in the media in this country would go, F the Ukraine. Like,
first of all, it's Ukraine, not the Ukraine. Second of all, what a straw man argument, because Donald Trump would never support something that didn't have his financial interests in mind.
Yeah.
anything he said,
Yeah.
they run the other way.
They're not wrong.
well, I'm so sorry that the people who are able to use more than 0.5% of their brain are confusing Trump supporters with things like facts and logic.
And that's part of the reason why so many people, like myself, have left the left and just cannot stand the media establishment.
You're leaving the left because you can't stand the media establishment. But Fox News is fucking fine. Fox News, a made-up channel that is not actually a news channel. Rupert Murdoch's Fox News, that's fine. That can stand because they agree with Trump. I need something stronger. Fucking soft brain bullshit. Anyway, all of this, we're not even close to done. We're not even close to done. We're heading into Act 3, bitches. Let's go. So, all of this really riveting content led me to 3 things by complete accident. 1, is it just me or is something not right about this photo?
2,
Dennis's website is basically just like a 1-page resume, a contact sheet, press releases, and nothing more. And this is the most entertaining part. In 2018, Dennis created Deaf Noodles, a satirical news commentary channel on YouTube that quickly became an internet sensation with his razor-sharp wit and biting commentary. Both of which Dennis is absolutely known for. Razor-sharp wit. Razor-sharp wit. Razor sharp, okay. He addressed controversial and taboo topics ranging from politics to pop culture. He has developed a loyal following of fans who appreciate his unique ability to transform any situation into hilarious and insightful commentary. Which one of his stans wrote this for him? None of that is accurate. None of it. I mean, the channel, it was called Deaf Noodles. It was on YouTube. I assume they got his pronouns right, which I'm sure he doesn't believe in pronouns anymore, even though it's just a basic part of English. Anyway, yeah. I had to read that, and now so do you. Also, his one of 2 featured press items include that fucking Vulture article that he kept trying to push on everybody, like last year. The way like people show off like wallet pictures of their kids where they fucking smack you in the face with it so that you can see how cute their kids are. That's what he used to do with the Vulture article. So there's a podcast, and then that Vulture article, and that's it. That's all that's in the press tab. As soon as I realized that I wanted to make this video, I had opened up Twitter to see that Paige Christie had also noticed that something's been super off with Dennis. You know, the famous comedian, Dennis. I scrolled down in her replies and found this tweet from someone who we will later find out is named Eduardo, who is from Mexico City. Not to dox him, but you're going to hear this later probably. So I clicked this little linky and I found some interesting things. Evidently, there's been a pretty critical, and rightly so, subreddit about Dennis for some time, and he invited his critics to call in, and he'd take their questions and criticisms head on. The concept to me feels like rage farming for views, and I feel like a lot of people on Reddit also called him out for that specifically, but considering that happened like 7 months ago, this video is now unlisted and currently has only under 600 views, like most of his current videos. That tells me all I need to know about how well he cleared things up with the haters. But we're gonna hit some of the finer points of this live, because even though it's 7 months old, I think it's relevant and I think it's interesting, because I fell down this goddamn rabbit hole. And now you're gonna fall down the rabbit hole too. So basically, Dennis was taking questions from Redditors who were critical of him, to put it mildly. Again, rightly so. The criticism is valid. And a big part of what the first caller brought up was about She was just giving him softball questions. Like, you could tell that she was just kind of being the mouthpiece for some people, and it was super softball. A lot of the questions were about him still suing Tiana. He was, for some reason, like, in pursuit of his lawyer to come on and speak to the audience, because his whole thing throughout this entire thing was like,
but this is out of my hands. This is what my lawyer advised me to do. That's why I'm a businessman, and that's what business people do, is they hire lawyers, and they give you advice, and then you do what they say.
And it's like, yeah, but lawyers are also super scummy sometimes, and will just financially drain the fuck out of you. So it kind of sounds like you're getting swindled, because this seems like a really, really petulant lawsuit. But anyway, Dennis was not paying very close attention and said this.
I've invited him on the show like several times to talk about stuff. So I'd love to have him on. You know, Steven Crowder used to have his attorney on all the time to answer these kinds of questions.
Steven Crowder. So now we want to be Steven Crowder. Now our reference point is Steven Crowder.
If you drop Tiana's lawsuit, I'll subscribe again. I'm not going to define my business decisions on anonymous chatter who doesn't know anything about the situation. Like, I think you've got like 9% of what actually happened out there. I'm not going to define my business decisions on that. Like, I don't care if you subscribe or not. That's fine. You already unsubscribed. If you found value in the content, you would be back already. You know? Like, I really do appreciate all the concern that you guys have over my business, but you have to understand, this is my business.
First of all, I think it's adorable that you think that the concern is over your business, when the concern is over the super young 20-something who's, like, facing, like, losing, I don't know, a shit ton of money and her credibility and all of that, because she was young and dumb and made a frustrated TikTok where she didn't name Dennis. I mean, I get it. She broke an NDA, which is a big no-no. Contracts are important. But also, like, the pettiness of choosing to pursue this lawsuit is absolute dog shit. It's kind of cute the way he thinks that Tiana's defamation is really the thing that's tanking his career, is really the reason he lost money, the reason he lost business opportunities, like this, because that's what defamation is, right? You have to prove that there was some sort of financial or some sort of loss as a result. I don't think that there was an ounce of loss as a result of Tiana's expose, because all of it seemed like everybody kind of went, yeah, that seems about right. I'm pretty sure everybody was already there mentally. She just drew the picture for us. It only gets better when Dennis starts to get irritated, because he was supposed to go work on his comedy bits like an hour ago, even though he's been on stream for like an hour and a half at this point. He's irritated now that he created the stream where he invited on haters and people who had criticism for him to hash out everything and answer questions. And now he's irritated, and he hasn't even brought anyone on that's been actually critical of him.
What is your business even? Oh my God. I feel like I'm talking to children.
First of all, you probably are, okay? For the most part. I'm not saying like the Redditors, but like, let's be serious. Let's be serious. A fully developed prefrontal cortex does not waste it. Okay, well, I'm here, but does not waste its time for pleasure seeking out content like this.
Here, let me play a quick video. I have to go to the front because I missed my mic entirely. I wish I had worked on my bits today, but didn't, because I'm, talking to you guys.
Literally. I'm bitter that I'm talking to you instead of working on my bits. Because, as if his fucking toilet humor dick joke comedy requires any sort of preparation while he's crowdsourcing his audience for content. The only preparation his comedy requires is a tape recorder that one might bring into a 10-minute long session of Taco Bell diarrhea in a public restroom. And this is also where he plays 20 minutes of some fucking video instead of just stopping the live stream. Like, just stop the fucking live stream. There's only like 5 people watching anyway. Like, this isn't a groundbreaker. I think it might be okay if we set this one down and come back to it later. Okay, so then Dennis brings on Eduardo, who we referenced earlier from the tweet, which is the reason that I found this video. Thank you, Eduardo. Who was the only person that Dennis brought on this live who actually, like, hit him with some questions, you know? There were probably other questions that could have been asked unrelated to the lawsuit, unrelated to Stephen and Corey, but he was the only one who came at him with an actual question and an actual criticism of his behavior. And Dennis continues, as always, to get more aggressive and fly off the handle and misrepresent what's being said. So let's break this down a little bit.
So
I really do not want to cause any like I don't know, man. That whole.
So you're choosing. What you're telling me is essentially.
I understand it's a contract, you know.
So here's the thing. Nobody told her to sign the contract. She didn't have to work for me. She didn't have to sign the contract. She didn't have to, also go on social media and lie. It's period.
She didn't have to work for you.
Yeah, it's period. I don't force anybody to sign contracts.
This is the problem a lot of people have, Dennis. If someone tries to tell you you're wrong, you just don't accept it.
So, okay, so here's the thing. I just said that I was wrong in the Papa Gut situation, right? So, boom. That's one thing. Now, when it comes, it's not because, Eduardo, listen, stop, hold on. It's not because you don't want to accept that contracts are enforceable in the court of law that you don't just sign contracts willy-nilly, that I'm wrong in this situation. This happens every day. It happens to a degree that you don't even see on social media.
What about Stephen and Corey? Because Stephen basically confirmed he got fired. Well, no, I don't want to make.
See, now you're making stuff up because he never even said that. There's no evidence of him ever being fired. He chose to leave.
No. Using the phrase "you're making stuff up" is bullshit because he wasn't making stuff up. Whether the information is correct or not, it wouldn't be him making stuff up. It would be him getting something incorrect. So, settle down, Beavis.
That you fired Corey. That
I didn't fire Corey either. He read. So see, Eduardo. First off, you're making stuff up because the text message I sent to Corey said he was suspended. Never fired. It said his stuff was suspended. I was suspending stuff. That's it. Never said he was fired. First off. So second, you don't know what kinds of agreements I have with the people who work for me. You've never seen the contract. And you yourself have said you don't even enforce the verbal contracts you have with the contractors who build stuff in your house.
Why would we have seen the contracts? Why would we have this information? I thought that was the purpose of this exact live stream, was to clarify, not to fucking bitch people out, to clarify. You want to have these conversations, you want to have this community, you want to build this fun, happy time, you want to make your dick jokes, but you have to, if you're going to make a sit down, I'm going to tell you everything you want to know about X, Y, and Z, then you need to sit down and actually fucking do that. Now, obviously, I know there's some restrictions because there are legal processes at play and there are things that you cannot say, but a simple, I can't talk about that. It's a current legal system. Why would you hold a fucking, TED talk about a situation that you can't divulge all the information about yet? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And it sure as fuck doesn't make sense to be a total dickhead to somebody who was just asking questions as you requested. Like, I mean,
as far as their contracts go, I mean, I have an option. I could sue them if I wanted to. I'm totally within my right. I have an option. I have 4 years, like I said. So, yeah, I mean, I totally have an option. I could sue them. It doesn't mean I'm doing it.
Oh, no. We're just going to sue Tiana, right? Just her. I can't imagine why. I hope you lose this lawsuit. Not that I want Stephen and Corey to be sued, not by any stretch, but that bias is really swinging its shitty comedy pendulum.
That is, I mean, I'm telling you, bro, don't sue them, please.
Why do you care? What is it to you? Eduardo, you live in Mexico City. How is my business You tell me practically, how is my business going to affect your life in Mexico City?
I'm saying that as in like, it would look worse if you suddenly decide to sue Stephen and Corey.
No. Hey, I'm not talking about how it looks. You tell me practically, how is my business, the way I run my business, going to affect your life in Mexico City?
This fucking tone, if any man ever spoke to me in this fucking tone, I would smack that fucking tone right out of his fucking mouth. Like, what the fuck? Why would you talk to somebody like this? Like, literally, it's so unnecessarily aggressive.
You said it yourself that they technically didn't work for you.
You know what you're doing right now, Eduardo? It's called concern trolling. You have no investment in my business. You've never spent any money in my business. You've never come to Los Angeles to visit my business.
Sounds like so wounded.
You've never come to my business. You've never talked to my business. You've never looked at my business. You don't look at my business after sex. You don't smoke a cigarette with my business. You've never touched my business.
Calm down, brother. I don't think it's concern trolling as much as it is, you said, hey, Redditors who don't like me, come fucking tell me why, and I'd love to answer your questions and concerns. Like, fuck off.
I don't know if you have the intentions of coming. If you would, we would welcome you with open arms. But that being said, you have no investment. You are concern trolling. That's what you're doing right now. So, by the way, like, I'm getting texts from people who are like associated with me, and they're saying that they're getting death threats in their Instagram. Please don't send, hate to people.
Who the fuck is sending death threats to random people that Def Noodles keeps a secret on Instagram? Nobody is doing that. There's not a chance in hell, allegedly, in my opinion. He ended up muting Eduardo because he was speaking, apparently. And then we got to this really weird part of this video where it's just like a lot of Dennis's fucking diehards talking. And I'm not going to expose any like names, or I'm going to try to disguise voices because these are just regular ass people who, I'm not trying to like lay them all out here. Like, that's not appropriate. But I do want to touch on a couple of the things that were said because they sure were said. So let's finish up in Act 4 with the super fans.
And I just want to tell all you guys on fucking Reddit and whoever the fuck you guys are, like, go fuck yourselves. We don't give a fuck. We don't fucking want to hear about Tiana or fucking Corey or no, I don't know them. I don't give a fuck. You don't know them either, people. Like, we don't fucking care anymore. Stop wasting our fucking time. And Dennis is nice enough to talk to you for 2 seconds.
We're not worthy.
To try to clear it up because he actually does feel bad that it didn't work out. But they fucked it, it's you don't make videos after it's a crazy thing, the situation Dennis is in. He got famous real quick. It's a lot of stuff happening at one time, and then what? You make one weird move and all of a sudden everybody gets to fucking post videos about you that personally are like hurting you.
Sorry, babe. Welcome to the internet.
And won't go away. He didn't steal any fucking crypto. He didn't fucking date any underage people. Dennis is the most unproblematic person on earth. He didn't have a fucking valid driver's license that had expired. I don't give a flying fuck about this shit anymore, guys. And the thing is once you're a businessman with a business and something valuable that you can lose, you get a lawyer, you've paid them an amount of money, and you listen to what they say. And the lawyer says, don't fucking talk about this shit anymore. He's not suing Tiana for fucking money. He's not suing Corey or any of these people for money. He just wants them to stop talking about him.
Honey, nobody's talking about him. Oh my god, well they sure said fuck a lot. That's cool. That's real cool. Edgy and cool. I feel like there's something that one of them wants to really get off their chest. Let's listen together.
I got so agitated one night because I saw, I don't know if I'm saying this person's name right, but Petty. She made a video about you and Stephen and Corey. Mm-hmm. I think she's black and she lives in England, right? But she used for the thumbnail a picture of you as a plantation owner with black eyes, like you're like all coked out, and with Corey and Stephen picking cotton in the fucking background. And she said something about Deaf Noodles is guilty of making the magical Negro and...
Okay. It is my assertion that that's a white lady. And it is also my assertion that that white lady didn't watch anything about that video. Because if she did, she would have heard this.
Now, if you don't know what the magical Negro trope is, let me explain it to you. So basically, the magical Negro trope is basically the idea that black people, stereotypically in films as well as in writing, can present a presence that is only there to help the protagonist, who ends up being a white individual. Films such as The Green Mile is a very good example of this, where a subservient black individual helps a white protagonist learn something. All versions of the magical Negro trope, it seems as if the black person always ends up having to suffer in some degree to help the progression of the main protagonist.
But all she got was this.
I don't know, I was so fucking offended because, for one, as an English black woman, she's not part of the American slavery thing where it's super wildly offensive.
Right. She was not a part of the American slavery thing. So there's this free site called google.com. So you just type it in your browser, www.google.com, and then you can search, I mean, you can phrase it any way you like. If you just Google that, it will pull up, the first thing it pulls up says, the majority worked in domestic service, both paid and unpaid. While slavery had no legal basis in England, the law was often misinterpreted. Black people were previously enslaved in the colonies overseas and then brought to England by their owners were often still treated as slaves. So even though they weren't like down with like the whole American slavery thing, there were still English slaves. But I'm sorry you were offended, white lady.
Sure, even Stephen and Corey, even as your friends that you'll make up later or whatever the fuck, I am sure they did not want to be in a thumbnail picking fucking cotton.
Yeah, that's very astute, especially considering Stephen definitely didn't become the catalyst for that video at all by tweeting this. You're an artist, don't work with someone else's plantation. They will treat you like a slave and you'll have nothing to show for it, and they will go off looking like a hero. Which again prompted Paige to, I don't know, use critical thinking skills and think outside the box. And, I don't know, put her life's experience and other people who look like her and have experiences like her, put their life's experience into an actually really thought-provoking and interesting narrative. So, you can use the word fuck as many times as you like. It's not going to continue to increase your IQ, and it's not going to make you sound smarter. Also, it's not really racist for a black person to point out that another black person is being treated in a manner that is akin to slavery. That's not what racism is. But good try. Anyway, I think that's about it for me here. That's about all the deaf noodles I can stomach for today. I just wanted to point these couple of things out because I think it's worth noting. I also don't want you to send any hate Dennis's way, especially to his mods and fans' way. It's not, be a fucking adult. Just be a fucking adult. And remember, comedy is only dick jokes and being able to make fun of people with different gender identities and calling black people out on their racism for making a poignant think piece about things that don't affect white people. That's what I've learned here today. I hope you learned something, because my brain is very sad right now. I'm gonna go. Thanks for being here. Subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. Like the video if you enjoyed it. or dislike it. I don't give a shit what you do. Just get off my fucking lawn. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the outtakes if there are any. And I'll see you in the next one. Good fucking bye. Fuck.
Receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots.
This is my official endorsement of Donald J. Trump for the 2024 American, U.S. General, National, International election. This man is going to win because he deserves to win. He has been chosen by God to fulfill the mission of this country. He will come back greater than a cum shot to the eye, shot straight from the hip. And oh man, is it gonna taste good this time? Because he's a big fan of pineapples, so I've heard. Anyway, official endorsement, Donald J. Trump, 2024. Let's get it.
Shut the fuck up!